It is Wednesday, and as we do every Wednesday, we have Mike Barrett from the Barrett Insurance Agency. Good morning, Mike.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
I am fine.
Good.
We got some really nice weather coming up next couple of days.
I'll take it. I'm ready.
I'll take it.
I'm ready.
Plus 50, better than minus 20.
I've already taken. This is my like the mid-range temperature jacket. So I'm not wearing the winter coat right now. I'm wearing the in-between coat, which I like. So
intermediate.
Thank you. That works. Yeah,
Right.
Progress being made. Good
Right.
thing.
So what do we want to talk about this morning?
This morning I thought, we don't talk about commercial insurance very often. And there's a reason for that, right? Because we're trying to speak to a large audience of the kind of bits and pieces of insurance that are good to know about. But this is something, and we should talk commercial maybe a little bit more, but not in a ton of detail. But this is something that I think impacts everybody. This morning we're talking about workers' compensation. And what's workers' compensation? Workers' compensation is insurance for employees that are on the job. All right. So you, right here, as you stand, you are covered by workers' compensation by the policies in place for the radio station. Okay. So what is workers' compensation? If you sustain an injury, it's going to help protect you from being liable to pay the medical bills of to recover from the injury you had, possibly pay for some lost time if you're unable to work for a period of time. Some people will tell you workers' compensation is the bane of our existence, and it could be. I mean, it's not an easy process necessarily. The reason being is that there was a lot of people out there that may fraudulently try to claim workers' compensation, and as a result, those who are legitimately claiming it are having a heavier lift through the process. But there is quite a process to make sure it's proper. But one of the things I thought would be important is that let's give an example of sustaining an injury. All right, so let's say that you, for any number of reasons here at the office today or at the station today, let's say you slipped and broke your arm coming down the stairs, but you were here at work. You have health insurance, and you're covered by workers' compensation. Who's going to pay to help fix your broken arm? Do you know?
No.
Good answer. I was hoping you'd give it the wrong answer, but no answer is just as good. So if you have health insurance, you can try to submit that to your health insurance, but once the health insurance company knows that injury was sustained on the job, you're not going to have coverage, at least until, because the reason being is that the liability is going to be on the end of the employee or employer, not the health insurance company that you personally have. So it's going to be the workers' compensation insurance. So whether you have health insurance or not, if you are on the job and sustain an injury, it's going to be a workers' compensation claim. So now let me speak to the employers, which would include myself, because I employ folks who are covered by workers' compensation too. If an injury is sustained, there are some guidelines that you should follow. Workers' compensation is state mandated. The second you have an employee, you are required by the state of Vermont, with a handful of exclusions for some realtors or farming operations, but mostly you're required by law to have workers' compensation. And as such, you are kind of required to follow a process. There is a workers' compensation first notice of injury form available on the Vermont Department of Labor website. If you have workers' comp, that is also in your renewal every year to help aid you in reporting a claim if somebody sustains an injury. And timeline-wise, you really should be filling that out within 72 hours. So if you are an employer and you don't know much about workers' compensation, which you have enough to worry about, you own a business and you have employees and you have things to do yourself a favor and reach out to either your agent and ask for more information, which I'm always happy to provide. I provide to everybody. Or just go to the Vermont Department of Labor website, go to the workers' compensation portion of the page, and grab some cool stuff. There's a lot of information on that page, including the first notice of injury form that's actually typable, which is easy. But they also have some tips and tricks, so good things for you to know about so that you are following the process of filing workers' compensation claims in a timely, appropriate fashion.
So let's say I'm working a job under the table for some guy.
Yep.
And I get injured. And it turns out he didn't follow the state mandate. He didn't have workers' comp.
Which can
Where
happen.
does that leave you there?
Leaves that person who you were working for exposed, because they could then be subject to penalty from the state of Vermont for having somebody working for them under the table and not claiming them as an employee or not having workers' compensation insurance. And that happens a lot. Let's not kid ourselves. I mean, it certainly does. But what that does is makes the person personally liable So you would have, so between the penalties from the state and the expenses that could come from your medical expenses, it could be a catastrophic loss for that person who opted to not have to have the workers' compensation policy in place.
I know I had run a small home repair and improvement business.
Uh-huh.
And I was starting to pick up more contracts.
Sure.
So I needed help. But the cost of the workman's comp was more than I was making.
Yeah, and that's a problem, all right? Because for every line of work, there is a rate assigned. And the way that workers' compensation rating works is for every $100 of payroll, there is a fee associated with that goes towards the rating of workers' compensation. So for an office person like myself, for every $100 that I get paid, I might have it might be a 93 cent or less. I can't remember the exact rate right now. But it'll be as low, less than $1 per 100, which can be very inexpensive. So for office workers' compensation, very inexpensive. But the second that you start doing contracting, mechanic, logging, farming, if you do need it, there are many that do. Obviously, contractors, carpenters, roofers, man, those are really expensive rates. They could be $10, $12, $13, $14, $20 per 100, which, gets expensive very fast.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's about leveraging what makes sense. It's a business expense. It's planning and understanding the appropriate coverage and need for your situation. And it's tough. I'm not going to lie. It's not easy. So there are times that people may forego workers' comp and maybe do subcontracting or get subcontractors, which is an entirely different beast in itself.
So say I'm an employer, and can I shop around
Oh, God, yeah.
for unemployment compensation?
For workers' compensation, absolutely.
Workers' comp.
Absolutely. There's a number of companies out there. So just our office alone, we have at least 5 or 6 options. So we can shop around. Now, the thing of it is the NCCI, which is the acronym for the National Council on Compensation Insurance, kind of sets the rate, but companies do have the ability to adopt different options as well. So while there's kind of a base rate per 100, that can vary from company to company, and it certainly is worth looking around and shopping around. So you may be finding, I find better options for folks pretty consistently. So
Awesome.
good to look into.
Okay, so that was a very interesting topic. I was thinking of a question earlier,
All right.
and let's see. Incentives. Is there any incentive, like where you're shopping around for maybe a better insurance policy than the one that you have, you're not happy with it, or
Sure.
for whatever reason? Does Barrett Insurance Agency offer any incentive to get people to come to your company?
Unfortunately, no. That would be called rebating. It's against the law.
It is?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I would have just broke the law, didn't I?
To incentivize somebody to come and get their insurance through our agency is actually, it's forbidden. So,
Really?
no free toaster for you.
No free toaster. Can I at least get some bread?
Maybe.
I got some real Cabot butter up here.
Hey, I'll take real Cabot better. So, yeah, that's interesting. There's referral fees that are out there if you're referring people, and that's something that you can possibly legally do. But yeah, incentivizing getting it. So there you go. So Barrett Insurance, you can find us on Portland Street in St. Johnsbury. Give us a call 748-5224. Online, thebarrettagency.com. Google, Facebook, and YouTube. Just look for Barrett Insurance Agency.
Well, thanks so much, Mike, and I hope you enjoy this wonderful weekend. The next few days we got coming.
I might bring it down to a vest tomorrow.
Yeah,
with 60
supposed
degrees.
to be almost 58, 60 degrees.
I'll take it.
I'll take it too. All right, Mike. We'll talk to you again next week on
All right.
Kicks 105.5.